Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Jamaican economy sees 6% growth in the January to March quarter. Confidence in St. Ann Municipal Corporation chairman on the decline. And later in sports, Jamaica's World Under-20 Girls 4x100 meter record denied ratification by World Athletics after testing mishap. I'm Anthony Lugg. Here are the details. Up first this afternoon, Jamaica's economy is estimated to have grown by 6% in the January to March quarter. The Planning Institute of Jamaica, PIOJ, gave the preliminary findings this morning. Director General of the PIOJ, Dr. Wayne Henry, says the performance reflects the fourth quarter of growth since the economic decline experienced due to the pandemic.
The outturn for January to March 2022 largely reflected the impact of 1. Increased external demand, especially for Jamaica's tourism product. This was facilitated by a relaxation of public health and social measures, particularly travel restrictions. This development was reflected in the positive performances for the transport, hotels and restaurants, and other services industries. And 2, increased domestic demand associated with higher levels of employment and operational hours as more industries gradually return to normalcy. This was particularly evident in the performance of the agriculture and wholesale and retail trade, repair and installation of machinery industries.
The PIOJ says, however, growth was tempered due to the halt in operations at the Jamaica plant due to a fire last August. Productivity was also slowed due to a rise in COVID-19 cases. Some councillors in the St. Ann Municipal Corporation say they've lost confidence in the chairman of the corporation, Sidney Stewart. This surrounds the deepening saga over stolen lights and illegally extracted electricity from the JPS grid for the Bucksfield playfield in Ocho Rios. O'Shane Masters reports.
We need answers. The charge from the minority caucus of the St. Ann Municipal Corporation regarding the operations at the Bucksfield playing field in St. Ann. According to a security specialist from the Jamaica Public Service, the matter regarding the stolen lights and illegally extracted electricity from the JPS grid was being investigated from 2019. It was discovered that even though there was no meter attached to the light posts, there was power supply coming directly from the grid. The JPS representative added then that a barrel lock placed on a meter socket, which was not approved by the power company, was later removed, and an inspection certificate stamped onto the meter socket in June 2019, 2 months after the JPS audit team first visited the complex in April 2019. Chairman of the corporation, Sidney Stewart, was drilled about the matter. However, he denied any knowledge of the operations at the facility. But Minority Leader of the corporation, Winston Brown, says the chairman seems to be lying.
At our last sitting of the infrastructure meeting, we brought up there, and the chairman of the council, who is the mayor, he denied that he knows nothing about it. And a couple of days after, we received a minute from the council where they had a meeting with JPS pertaining to the light poles and installation of light. And that meeting was chaired by the mayor himself. So we need all information from the CEO at the next sitting of the meeting will be coming Thursday of this week, the 2nd of June.
The councillors have also widened the scope in seeking further answers in a memo sent to the CEO of the corporation, Roval Morrison, dated May 25, 2022.
I want to know who was the contractor and if the contract was tendered and if it was procured, so we are seeking those answers coming Thursday.
The minority leader says based on this development, there is no longer any confidence in having Chairman Sidney Stewart leading the council. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
The opposition spokesman on housing, Mikhail Phillips, wants the country's anti-corruption agencies to investigate the NHT's guaranteed purchasing agreement it has in place with private developers. He made the call even as he joined the number of PNP members chiding the Prime Minister for his statement that the NHT is a business. More in this report from Dwayne Anderson.
Opposition spokesman on housing Michael Phillips said he's worried about the future of the NHT following comments from Prime Minister Andrew Holness that the trust is a business. He wants Mr. Holness to clarify his comments.
Michael Mann is supposed to be turning in his grave. Because it looked like they forget the purpose on why the NHT was created. That he's so blind and have his head in the sand that he could have looked on the civil servant them and the Jamaican people and said that the NHT is not a welfare fund. Him out of order, man. Have no conscience.
Additionally, he wants a probe into the NHT's guaranteed purchasing program, which it has in place with private developers. Mr. Phillips is especially worried about two housing developments in St. Anne and St. Elizabeth.
My investigation is telling me that this program is for political cronies, giving them contracts to build houses, guaranteeing the purchases, and still can't deliver houses to the people who need them most. I want to ask the Contractor General, the Integrity Commission, and the Auditor General to look at that program.
The Member of Parliament also bemoaned what he deems as the mismanagement of other key agencies, among them the National Solid Waste Management Authority (NSWMA) that is responsible for garbage collection. He argues that if the situation isn't fixed, Jamaicans will soon have to deal with a health crisis caused by disease-carrying rodents.
I've never seen the amount of garbage that I've seen right across the country as I've seen now. And when the Prime Minister can stand up in Parliament and say that he's bringing 50 new garbage trucks, that's an embarrassment to the people of Jamaica. Because 50 garbage trucks cannot fix the problem.
Mr. Phillips was speaking at the Knockpatrick Divisional Conference in Manchester. Dwayne Anderson, TVJ News.
Health experts are appealing to school administrators and parents to be on the lookout for symptoms of hand, foot and mouth disease. The appeal follows an outbreak at the Chandler's Pen Infant and Primary School in Clarendon, where 4 suspected cases of the virus were discovered. Sandy Williams reports.
Director of Family Services in the Ministry of Health, Dr. Melody Ennis, says at the moment steps are in place to control the possible spread of hand, foot and mouth disease among the school population.
We advise and encourage that once the children are so ill, they remain home. We clean the schools, and it's over in about a week.
The country is at this time not on alert for hand, foot and mouth disease, but Dr. Ennis is imploring parents to pull their children out of school if they are symptomatic.
They're going to be spitting, they're going to be hugging, they're going to be sharing utensils, drink out of my juice bag, and that's how it spreads. So we want them to stay home until the fever has subsided and the blisters are down.
In the meantime, Dr. Ennis is of the view that the virus is common among children. It's the reason she is also appealing to parents to play their part in preventing any further spread in the home.
And hygiene is the key here. There is also spread via the stool. So diapers in small children, when we change, and we know you wash your hands after you've changed diapers, you place the diaper in a safe and secure place. You might place it in a plastic bag before you drop it in the bin so that it cannot be spread via the stool. But hygiene, no hugging, no kissing, no sharing of utensils at this time.
The school has since been closed to allow for deep cleaning. Sandy Williams, TVJ News.
And it's time now for a break, but stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back to Midday News and thanks for staying with us. Agriculture Minister Pernell Charles Jr. is again insisting that the government is serious about tackling Prairie Larceny. Mr. Charles Jr. addressed the issue at a function in St. Anne recently. Jamaica Maitland reports.
The Agriculture Minister is talking tough about tackling Prairie Larceny. Farmers over the years have lost millions of dollars due to theft of farm produce and animals. It's led to many turning away from tilling the soil. But Mr. Charles Jr. says things will be changing.
All of you thief who come and thieving out the people yam and thieving out the people's sweet pepper and hot pepper, you're going to get catch. And when you get catch, we're going to make sure you go to jail. Make sure you understand that when our farmers get up in the morning and put them knee on the ground and dig the yam hole, it is not for you to come and thief them produce. This minister is not going to stop. Every single day I am going to be working to make sure that we catch you. And when we catch you, it's up to $5 million you're going to have to spend.
The minister says based on his legal qualifications, he has the requisite knowledge of what it needs to have a solid case against Prairie Larcenists. In the meantime, he says a special team which has already been put together will be targeting the big players in the illegal practice.
And we're going to be very patient. We're going to be very quiet. We're going to act like thief in the night when we come for you. When we come for you, you won't even know until you wake up behind the bars. So, this is your last warning. Continue, because you soon will not be able to continue.
Head of the Prairie Larceny Unit, Superintendent Oral Pasco, is however imploring farmers to register with the Rural Agriculture Development Authority, RADA, while the government works on creating a stronger legislative framework.
We're also going to look at the framework in terms of institutional arrangement, in terms of how the RADAs, the agriculture, the JAS and other agencies of the ministry and non-governmental agencies work together along with the police in building out farm watch, beach watch programs. We're going to try to put a better infrastructure there. We're going to look at building out in terms of a secretariat to at least enforce and maintain a structure going forward. We believe that this program can be very effective and farmers can help us to help them.
Both men were speaking at the St. Anne Branch Society's Agricultural, Industrial and Food Show recently. Jamaica Maitland, TVJ News.
And it's time now for the Business Minute with Shane Masters.
There was an uptick in remittances to Jamaica in April. Net inflows amounted to $271.6 million. That was 0.3% higher than during the same period last year. The US remained the main remittance source market, accounting for 71% of inflows. Total remittances since the start of the year have been estimated at $993.6 million. That was 1.9% lower than the corresponding period in 2021. EU leaders say they will block most Russian oil imports by the end of 2022 to punish Moscow for invading Ukraine. The EU-wide ban will affect oil that arrives by sea, around 2/3 of imports, but not pipeline oil, following opposition from Hungary. Poland and Germany have also pledged to end pipeline imports, meaning a total of 90% of Russian oil will be blocked. European Council Chief Charles Michel said the deal cut off a huge source of financing for the Russian war machine. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Shane Masters.
We go now to a look at a preview of what's coming up in this evening's health report.
In this evening's health report, we look at scoliosis.
You have your physical and psychosocial setbacks for patients with scoliosis. However, the majority of scoliosis are mild, and those patients can live a normal life. However, the patients with severe scoliosis can experience significant pains or breathing complications, along with their change in their physical appearance.
That's the health report in Primetime News at 7. And now for today's Healthy Living tip. Medication may help relieve the pain associated with scoliosis. Exercise aimed at strengthening and stretching your back may help reduce pain. Keep your joints warm and sleep on a firm mattress.
And for a look at the top regional and international stories, here's Sandy Williams.
In the region, the Belize government has launched a national campaign to vaccinate as many children between the ages of 5 and 11 years against COVID-19. In a statement, the Ministry of Health and Wellness encouraged persons 5 years and older to get vaccinated as soon as they can. The national campaign coincides with a recent delivery of over 100,000 doses of the Pfizer vaccine. The authorities said that personnel have been assigned to various districts in an effort to cover as much ground as possible ahead of the new school year. Each school has also been assigned a date when personnel from the ministry will be visiting to administer COVID jabs to their student population. On the international scene, at least 11 people are dead and 20 are missing after Hurricane Agatha touched down in southern Mexico, causing dangerous flooding and mudslides. On Tuesday, Governor of the southern state of Oaxaca, Alejandro Murat, said rivers overflowed their banks and swept away people in homes, while other victims were buried under mud and rocks. He said the deaths appear to be concentrated in a number of small towns in the mountains just inland from the coast. The governor added that there were also reports of 3 children missing near the resort of Huatulco. Forecasters expect the diminished tropical depression Agatha, which made landfall in Mexico on Monday as a hurricane, to bring heavy rains as far as South Florida over the next few days. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Sandy Williams.
And we head now to a quick break. When we return, we'll have your midday sports report. Renata Brown is standing by.
Welcome back. It's now time for your midday sports. Jamaica's girls 4x100 meter relay team world junior record of 42.58 seconds set on April 17 at the Carifta Games has been denied ratification by World Athletics. A photo of a release has been making the rounds this morning, highlighting that the record, which was set at the National Stadium, has not been ratified as not all team members subjected to doping control. Chairman of the Jamaica Anti-Doping Commission, Alexander Williams, confirmed that the reports are indeed true and gave an explanation as to what took place.
Well, the protocol is that you don't necessarily test any one athlete too frequently, putting it that way. You test one in competition the day before, you don't necessarily test them in competition the day after, which is what happened. A number of athletes were tested according to what we were asked to do by J3s and also in accordance with water protocols. Now, it did turn out that one particular athlete, I think it's the athlete in question, had been tested on the 16th but not on the 17th. And that was purely because of the JADCO's best practice that they do in competition. Anyhow, the long and short of it is going forward, where JADCO will have to adjust accordingly.
The team of Serena Cole, Tina Clayton, Brenna Liston, and Tia Clayton produced 42.58 seconds to win the event at the Carifta Championships, a mark that bettered the world under-20 record of 42.94, also set by Jamaica in Nairobi last year. And the Jamaica Scorpions suffered an early batting collapse to give the Leeward Islands Hurricanes the advantage in their 5th round regional 4-day game at Taruba. Asked Bath, the Scorpions, who are without a win in 4 games, slumped to 10 for 3 after 11 overs. Kurt McKenzie Jr. on debut made a duck, while Jermaine Blackwood 3 and John Campbell 2 fell 11 deliveries apart. Paul Palmer Jr. on a 43 and Alwyn Williams then added 44 runs in a rebuilding effort before Williams was caught for 17 just before lunch, reaching the interval at 56 for 4. Since the resumption, the Jamaican franchise have moved the score to 100 for 5. Sheena Berridge has so far taken 2 wickets. And St. George's College and Kingston College will contest the ISA Under-14 basketball final at the National Stadium after contrasting victories in their respective semifinals on Monday. St. George's had a 27-15 win over Jamaica College as they led from start to finish at home. JC went scoreless in the first quarter and watch as the home team dominated the contest. Mikhail Green was the top scorer for the Dark Blues with 9 points. The final will be played today at 4 p.m.
It was a good start from us. You wanted to focus on defense and rebounding because the past few games we were lacking in that area, and we know that if we executed on those areas, we know we'd come out victorious.
It's just 5 games. The boys just now learning to play basketball. They're just getting some of the things that you have been trying to teach them over the past 2 months. You know, it's only a 2-week season, so I really appreciate the experience that we were able to gain over this 2 weeks.
Now, KC, led by a double from Aidan Henry, had a comfortable 40-22 victory over Campion College. Henry had 11 points and 10 rebounds. Now to football, Lauren Donaldson has been confirmed as the head coach of the Reggae Girls for a second time. This as the Jamaica Football Federation sent a release earlier today. Donaldson now replaces Vin Blaine in the position ahead of next month's CONCACAF final round of World Cup qualifiers in Monterrey, Mexico. And reigning champions Cavalier could come within a point of securing a playoff spot should they get the better of Montego Bay United in their rescheduled Jamaica Premier League game at Westport Park today.
When the teams met earlier in the season, Cavalier ran out 3-0 winners in their game at Drax Hall. A win is also important for the 2021 winners as they are 4 points away from securing top 6 finish, which would give them a chance at retaining their title. Coach of Cavalier David Layla says the team has been working on improving some areas of their play and it's just for them to execute right in the remaining games.
This is the final stretch, so for them to be getting it here now, we can only get better. It can only be better for us if the guys them get it right now in this final stretch. I think it will be very good.
Meanwhile, Montego Bay United are unbeaten in their last 3 games, with their latest result being 1-1 draw with Humble Lion. And coach Leecroft Letman says the team is starting to show character.
As I always said, I believe in my product, and once they do the work, then it's much important that you're going to see the fruit bearing.
The game is scheduled for Westport Park with kickoff set for 3 p.m. Cavalier currently sit 5th in the standing on 30 points, while Mobe are at the foot of the table on 10 points. Sandy Williams for TVJ Sports.
Thanks, Sandy. And that's it for your Midday Sports Report. Anthony, it's back to you.
Thank you very much, Renardo. And that's the Midday News. I'm Anthony Lugg. Join us at 7 for Primetime News. On behalf of the news, sports, and production teams, good afternoon.